Okay, this is a guided tour of the Volvox GenStation Solo. It's a 5 kilowatt electricity output CHP. This one is set up to give maximum heat in that we recover the engine coolant heat and the exhaust heat as well. These are the kind of things you get on the control panel. That's a deep sea DSE 701 controller. We use a whole range of controllers. This one is the basic one, but we go all the way up to grid syncing 8600. You also see here we have auxiliary DC output. It has an automotive alternator which, when it's not recharging the starting battery, will provide a good 30 amps at 14 volts. We thought that might be useful. Got an hour meter, emergency stop button, water temperature, oil pressure. The controller, the Deep Sea 701, also monitors an oil pressure switch and will shut the engine down should the oil pressure drop, and will also monitor engine temperature. The strange wire coming out of the bottom is just a temporary method of testing the remote starting feature. What we've tried to do with this is over-engineer everything as much as we can. The engine is designed to be a 16 horsepower, running at 2200 RPM. We've down-rated it to 1500 RPM and directly coupled it to the alternator. It's a single cylinder horizontal diesel. It's quite big for the power output, but that's what you need if you want something to last. The light's a little bit bad here, but if you can see, we have an absolutely massive radiator there. The reason for that is that some CHP versions of this need to be primarily electricity rather than primarily heat. So rather than stop the unit when the heat isn't being taken away, we divert it to this massive radiator, so it's dumping not only engine coolant heat but also the heat recovered from the exhaust. And it also has a very large fan as well. We've got an 80 amp hour battery, which should easily be more than anybody could possibly want. This is the fuel supply side. This is a 4-stage centrifugal oil filter, fuel filter and water separator. The great thing about it is that there's no cartridges that need replacing, and just get a build-up of dirt and water at the bottom there, which can be drained away. You see the central heating pump, just a standard central heating pump, but it's switched on as and when the unit believes it's got heat to offer. This is how you connect the water pipes. Top one is the flow, bottom one is the return. Standard 22mm compression joints. This big shiny thing is the exhaust gas heat exchanger. Nicely insulated here, so we don't waste any heat. 3-pass system, 27 tubes, just short of a square metre of surface area. Very effective. We've also got, you can see the oil switch here and the oil pressure sender, something that we've had made specially for this engine. These engines don't come with this standard. That's the temperature sensor, and this model has been converted to run on vegetable oil, which means it needs a glow plug to start, and that glow plug is also a bespoke build for us. The enclosure is big. As I said, we like to over-engineer everything. But the reason is that unit will weatherproof and sound attenuate, but you can still get in and service things. This is where the hot air comes out, where you fill the water, and where you fill the fuel. Because most people will have an external tank, because these things are designed to run for a long time, and you don't want to have to keep filling it up. This one's on its way to a customer tomorrow. He lives off grid. He has wind power, solar power, and this unit is going to provide him with heat and charge his battery banks. It's a brushless alternator. Hidden down there in the dark, I don't think you can see it. No, is the DC alternator. Let's see if we can trace the water flow. So the return pipe at the bottom comes into the pump. The pipe flows into the exhaust gas heat exchanger near its entrance because it's cross flow. The hot water then comes out here, which makes its way to, I don't think we can see that, yes we can, to the engine mechanical water pump. Goes through the engine and out of this pipe here, which is insulated and works its way all the way up to the flow. So the exhaust gas heat exchanger and engine coolant are in series. We do this because that gives us the greatest temperature differential and therefore the best heat recovery. There are 4 temperature sensors in this system. all ensuring that the engine doesn't get too cool or too hot. Volvox GenStation Solo, vegetable oil, combined heat and power system.